What if margins are tight? Even if margins are tight, we help make every dollar count. Find your way forward with Simplot Grower Solutions.
Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with California Ag Network, reporting to you from the annual conference of the California Association of Pest Control Advisors. We're here in Reno, Nevada. It's been a great opportunity to gather. This is Adam Tavares. He is very active on the board of the California Association of Pest Control Advisors. He is a PCA who works with AMVAC. You cover quite a terrain with it, right?
I do, yeah. So Adam Tavares, AMVAC, we're a subsidy of American Vanguard. I cover South San Joaquin Valley, the California coast, and Hawaii. I'm also a state board member, vice chair for CAPCA. I've been involved with CAPCA for about 12 years now, also government relations chair.
Yeah, which is a very important role that the CAPCA plays in working very closely with DPR and the state on various pesticide regulations and some of the issues that we've continued to experience in government and dealing with the public and whatnot. So one of the topics we want to talk about today that's been a reoccurring subject here at CAPCA is biologicals and the place for biologicals in California agriculture. That's becoming a lot more mainstream.
Absolutely.
Whereas growers are still very skeptical about using some of them and making sure that we got scientific data to back them up, and also from DPR and how do we regulate biologicals? How does that fit into the portfolio? I wanted to ask you about your input on that and some of the things you've heard today at this conference.
Yeah, absolutely. I think PCAs play a very important role in the advancements of biologicals. Our industry is pushed and moved by consumers. I'm very lucky that with the company I work for, we've actually been involved with biologicals for a very long time. A lot of growers, when they think of biologicals, they look back to the day where products weren't as effective. But thankfully, with the technology that's come about in the last 15, 20 years, we're seeing a great advancement in biologicals. They're playing a huge role. There's obviously a push in the state of California. CAPCA's been involved in that conversation from day one. All PCAs believe that we need the tools in our toolbox. And that's one of the messages that's been pushed through here this week is, if products are still used, they're older products, they're scientifically proven to work, and there's a need for them, we can't just regulate them out and throw biologicals in there. However, there is a fit for biologicals. There's great products. We have products like Companion Max that have a great fit for powdery mildew. We have some stuff that's really building up the biome and the soil health to help with your plant health. There's a fit for everything. Healthy plants give you better yields, give you better profits, which is what our customers, who are our growers, they need at the end of the day. And then CAPCA ties into this because we've been at the forefront to understand and work with DPR that, when you have older chemistry products and they are safe and effective, you can't just throw them out. It leaves growers hanging, and it actually creates massive issues in industries and infestations that could happen by regulating more on emotion rather than science. While biologicals absolutely are the future, we have to rely on proven scientific knowledge that we have, while also working with our consumers and also people that are stewardship of the environment and DPR. Partner with them to make a better environment for us to work in, grow in, and do business in.
I really appreciate that you mentioned infestations and the concerns for you take away certain tools and don't replace them. Don't have other options. We have some big issues, and just even now we're dealing with a serious rat infestation in the Central Valley, and that causes even more consumer concerns, than if we had just had the tools that we needed to get right to work and taking care of some of those things. So that being said, when you talk about tools in the toolbox and modes of action and rotation, we talked about that for a long time, but you lose some of those tools. Biologicals really opens the doorway to many more modes of action.
Absolutely.
And different opportunities to enhance our pest management solutions, right? So where exactly do we see that fitting, and how you have any more specifics on working with DPR to integrate them into that system?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we try to really work with DPR and partner with them is the understanding that while yes, biologicals are the future and yes, they work, we can't just throw out what we've had. Good examples. You have just because you have a conventional chemistry, so something like a plant growth regulator, it's not a biological, but it's very effective in doing what it needs to do. We have a product called mandolin that is used for fruit thinning and citrus. And you look at it, it's like, well, it's not an organic, it's not a biological, but it's very important because it's helping us reduce the citrus load and send picking crews through. As we know, labor is hard to get and very expensive. It is a product that we can use, put out in the field, and it's helping our growers save money because they're not having to send a picking crew through and knocking off the small throughout the year. Same thing with our, we have a product called Tree Hold that it's very hard to get a pruning crew to go through in your pomegranates. And so with this product, you're able to reduce the amount of pruning you're having to do, if not all out get rid of it. And CAPCA's played a huge role in showing the department that, hey, these other chemistries, they have a huge part in not only helping us with worker shortages, worker safety, but just because it's conventional, it's not bad. However, it is also finding that, hey, biologicals, again, I can't stress this enough, while it is the future, you have to have a fit for it. There has to be a need for it. You can't just shove it down throats and hope it works. You have to show it works and scientifically prove it does work.
Yeah, that's just critical. And thank you for bringing up those specific examples. I mean, and we're not talking about displacing labor either.
Yeah.
Because those laborers are very skilled in what they do, and we can, for example, on the fruit thinning, move them to safer jobs.
Absolutely.
Not that what they've been doing isn't safe, but it's a higher quality of life.
Absolutely.
And it's great opportunities. So really, these new products are all about enhancing the quality of the lives of our growers, our employees, and all the people that eat the food that goes throughout the world.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that we like to emphasize in CAPCA is agriculture is a community, and that doesn't mean the manufacturers and the retailers and the growers. It's our workers too. They are, a lot of times we're spending Christmas, Thanksgiving with them because we're working. We're trying to put food on the table that's safe and efficient and cheap for the masses around the world. I stand by California produces some of the safest products in the world when it comes to vegetables, fruit, and other agriculture products, and PCAs and CAPCA play such a huge role in that. One of the things that we're trying to push with and work with DPR is we are the experts in the field. We are licensed by them to be the experts in the field. We want to work with them. We want to prove that what we do is very important, and it is, and show them what we know, and really show them, like we discussed, the rat infestation. We have feet on the ground in every county in this state, whether we have PCAs that work for the state, we have PCAs that work for federal government, PCAs that work in regular ag. We're all over the place. We're the experts. We are boots on the ground, and we want to work with you, but we also see the side effects that happens when you just emotionally regulate things out without thinking of the consequences. The rat infestation is a perfect example of that. One of my fears is I grew up and lived in a small rural community. That rat infestation gets into one of these communities, what does that mean? I don't think people think of the consequences. What's the second and third consequence that could happen from this? And these are things that PCAs think about constantly. It's not just how do we create the safest product and do the safest legal application. What are the consequences from that to the people, environment, the air, the water quality? That all goes into a recommendation that we're making. We truly are stewards of the land, but also our community. We care about these people. I drink the same water they drink. My children drink the same water they drink. I want the safest possible option out there, but I also want the ability to create safe and affordable food for everybody in the state, not just those who can afford the high value organic only crops. I also think about the kids who live in small rural towns who get a delivery from the grocery store once a week. I want them to have access to fruit and vegetables. It's a win-win for everybody, and the sooner we start all working together instead of against each other, following the science, but also listening to our communities, it will be a win-win for everybody. And CAPCA's really emphasized that in the last, I'd say, 10 years, and put an emphasis on we're the experts. Use us as the experts, but you got to also listen to us and work with us.
Well, really appreciate that, the voice that you are with CAPCA, the work you're doing in government relations, and the organization and relaying the message that you're sharing here today. So thank you. Read more about these things in our publications. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.